This body camera video from 2019 captures a dramatic police mistake. Officers bursting into the Chicago home of social worker Anjanette Young as she was changing clothes just after 7 o'clock on a Thursday evening.
What is going on here?
Stunned and bewildered,
You got the wrong house. I live alone.
she stood naked and handcuffed in her own living room,
What are you looking for?
a victim of police raiding the wrong address.
You got me in the handcuffs. I'm naked. This is not right.
I couldn't comprehend what was happening. At that moment, I was absolutely afraid for my life.
No, because you got the wrong house.
At the very end, when they took the handcuffs off me, it was when they said, you know, we believe your story. I'm sorry.
What's the lasting impact it's had?
I've been diagnosed with major depression and PTSD. Time does not cure it. It is something that you live with, and you have to learn how to manage it.
Chicago police, like most law enforcement agencies, don't keep track of wrong house raids or publicly report data. But a 2023 review by the city's inspector general found at least 21 cases over a 4-year period.
The problem with the Anjanette Young case was the information giving to the officers was fictitious. A paid informant provided fictitious information in order to get money from the police department. When the officers showed up to execute the warrant, they were in the house for seconds before they realized this is bad information. We know we're in the right place. We know we're at the right location. But the information provided to us about criminal activity inside this home is not correct.
You got the wrong information.
Whether bad intelligence or an innocent officer error, the impacts can be severe. An Austin, Texas SWAT team responding to a gunfight blew up the front door of Glenn and Mindy Shields' home, causing thousands of dollars in property damage.
We were put in handcuffs in a police car over 2 hours.
The suspect lived across the street. The city denied any wrongdoing and, as is often the case, claimed immunity.
Come on out, keep your hands up.
When cops showed up outside Amy Hadley's home in South Bend, Indiana in 2022,
Y'all know I'm a minor, right?
her teenage son emerged with his cell phone on and his hands up.
That's not him.
Cops beginning to question whether the suspect was in the house.
Nobody knows who that is. Nobody's seen him before.
Hadley claims they still launched dozens of tear gas grenades and raided the home anyway. Police later saying they had indications the suspect had posted to Facebook from inside.
Cops are human and they make mistakes. And a lot of times the mistakes that are being made are because there's not enough due diligence, there's not enough research going into it, and the result of it can be devastating for the family impacted.
Anjanette Young sued the city of Chicago and received a nearly $3 million settlement in 2021. But experts say most innocent victims of wrong house raids are not compensated for the physical or emotional harm that often results.
Why is it so hard for victims of police mistakes to seek justice in court?
So police not only have things like qualified immunity to protect them, but in a case where the police work for the federal government, they have entire doctrines that effectively act like federal immunity.
For Trina Martin, her son Gabe, and Toy Clyett, the nightmare began with an FBI flashbang grenade exploding in the living room of their Atlanta home.
I thought someone was breaking in, and it was so chaotic that I thought they had a mission, and the mission was to kill us.
They threw me down on the floor and they were interrogating me and they were asking me questions. And I guess the answers that I was responding to them with didn't add up. And that's when I realized that they were in the wrong place.
How did it end?
The lead officer came back and he gave us a business card and he apologized and then left.
She said the agents left behind $5,000 of damage, burned carpet, broken doors, and fractured railings.
What's the emotional damage?
It's countless. I mean, we're still trying to heal from that.
Gabe was 7 years old at the time. Now in middle school, he says the emotional trauma from that raid changed his life.
I see the world differently now. You know, I didn't really have a childhood growing up because of that. So it really kind of changed me as a person.
The FBI denied the family's claims for restitution. But now Trina, Toy, and Gabe have taken their fight for accountability all the way to the U.S. Supreme Court. While federal law enforcement agencies have broad immunity from lawsuits, Congress did carve out an exception in 1974 for victims of assault, battery, false imprisonment, false arrest, or abuse of process by an officer. The government denies the exception applies to wrong house raids.
What the Martins are looking for in this case is to be made whole for the mistake that was made by the FBI. But much more broadly than that is to ensure that they might be one of the last families that this happens to in America.
The case comes as advocates for victims of police misconduct and mistakes say President Trump is rolling back guardrails on law enforcement. On the campaign trail, Trump suggested crime would end if police are free from restrictions.
We have to let the police do their job, and if they have to be extraordinarily rough.
The Trump Justice Department has put a freeze on civil rights investigations into cops and vowed to reconsider consent decrees with police departments found to have engaged in a pattern of misconduct. That includes agreements with the cities of Louisville and Minneapolis for police reforms agreed to after the 2020 police killings of Breonna Taylor and George Floyd in their respective cities.
The Justice Department had in recent years been really taking a close look at where things are going wrong, where you see a pattern of constitutional violations. And what the Trump Justice Department appears to be doing is backing away from that process.
And Jeanette Young says communities don't need to wait for the feds. In Illinois, she's lobbying state and local officials for strict new rules on search warrants to prevent cops from raiding the wrong house, including new steps to vet intelligence on a suspect's location, requiring a 30-second wait after knocking before breaking down a door, and mandatory use of tactics least intrusive to someone's home and property.
It's not okay to harm people and then not fix the harm.
Should police departments make people whole after an incident like that?
We're human beings. We make mistakes all the time, unfortunately. But in a situation like that, where there probably should have been more investigation on the front end before crashing that door, yeah, and whether that's repairing the damages or providing them with some sort of compensation for what they've experienced, yeah, absolutely.
The Martins say that kind of restitution is the exception rather than the norm, now hoping the nation's highest court will change that.
And for 7 long years, it felt like they were turning their backs on us. I felt unheard, and it was easier to give up, and